Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for doing
you.
this. It's really cool for me to be on vacation and do stuff I love while I'm on vacation. Our drive here, I was like, I want all that on camera. So, this thing started for me like having amazing conversation with some really great people in my life. To put that on camera and record it, I think it's valuable. It's valuable to share what helps and what works, and specifically in a real way. What did they call it? They call it spiritual bypassing.
Right.
Well, there's a lot.
Well, we don't want to do spiritual bypassing too much. We want to validate the emotions first.
Right.
So spiritual bypass is actually a negative. It's like we say, I had the baby died or somebody died, whatever. But it's all for the best.
Right. That's the bypass.
You don't want to do that too
Right.
fast.
Let's get into it.
Why?
Let's get right into
You're
it.
amazing. Very good. Very good. High five on no sleep you got here. Very good. Very good. Right on time.
Well, I got my time zones all confused.
Yeah, but you were right on time for me.
I was sure that today is tomorrow, so I got up at 5 to be on a Zoom for tomorrow morning. I'm a full day.
But here you are,
Timish.
reliable and responsible.
Thank
That's
you.
what it shows. Good for you. And I believe in high-fiving, and good for you, everybody, wherever you go. Here's Ben, high five, got here, doing his job, being responsible and reliable, and,
Yes.
and in a good mood, giving out good vibes. That's important. Then you can get to the spiritual.
Yeah.
But first, you have to
High fives.
You have to deal with this guy.
What are you wearing? What's your outfit?
This is part of my outfit. I like to make things fun because therapy is, as a therapist, it's so serious and people are so depressed and so anxious. So when I do these things, it already lifts the mood because we have the power to create happy hormones, happy neurotransmitters.
Mm-hmm.
Stands for dose. We want dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those are the good things. When we're gloomy and sad and jealous and resentful and angry, we're just pushing all those good hormones, neurotransmitters out of our body,
Right.
lowering them. So I want to make people happy. So this is basically what I teach about. You want to do that, by the way, first thing in the morning when you wake up. You go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth or whatever, and you want to say, very good, high five. I got up, I kept my eyes open.
That's the
that's
win.
already,
That's the victory.
That's a victory right there. I got out of bed on time, that's a victory.
Yes, you invented the EMETT method?
Yes.
You came up with it?
I came up with
all
it.
on your own?
Well, actually, I took it from your wife's Bubby. She brought me to recovery meetings when I was in a mess, and I'd been diagnosed with everything you could possibly imagine: bipolar, borderline, ADHD, schizophrenia. I don't know. I have a whole list of all these things. The doctor told me I had treatment-resistant depression. He said, you're not capable of feeling joy. Okay? Anxiety disorder, panic disorder. So by 30, I had all these labels. And I just thought, the doctor says I'm a lost cause. They actually said that you're a lost cause. You'll need to be hospitalized and medicated for the rest of your life.
Wow.
That was at 30.
Wow.
Now, at 33, so my life was like, I had a very, very difficult childhood, a lot of abuse and a lot of rejection and exclusion, everything bad you can think of. And so by 30, I had all these diagnoses. Yes, I'm a lost cause and I'm this and that. And and then I met your wife's Bubby, my sister Yehudis Karabel, and she said, come with me. And she brought me to this recovery meeting where they teach how to discipline your mind.
Yeah, it's a mindset of I'm good.
Right, and that means getting control over this one. I'll explain in a minute what that's all about. And I said after the first meeting, oh, this isn't for me because the doctor said I'm a lost cause. And I remember Annette, Zichronah Livracha, back then said, no, Dr. Lowe said there are no lost causes. There are only people with undisciplined minds. And then I learned these steps. And I had a doctorate in psychology, and I never learned how to make people well. In fact, Dr. Lowe, who founded recovery, was so successful with his psychiatric patients that they kicked him out of every hospital he worked in.
Wow.
Now, a few years prior to that, I had been suffering pretty much most all my life from Crohn's and colitis. And about 3 years prior to that meeting with recovery, I met a doctor who said, oh, we can cure your Crohn's and colitis and IBS and all these things. You just have to keep your fruits, proteins, starches separate and wait between meals and never touch grains or sugar ever again.
Wow.
Well, I said, I have to say bye-bye to my best friend, chocolate. Okay, sugar. Oh, how am I going to live? It was a bad addiction. And I had to go through withdrawal, but that's been 50 years now.
Wow.
Since I was 30. And
recovery is a different method than 12-step.
So, right.
That's what
and
it
recovery
is.
It just teaches you mental health skills.
And it also bases on the fundamental value that we're always okay and inner good enough.
Yeah, he didn't do that then. He just said, when you have a thought, you have to understand where it's coming from and whether it's true or not. Psychologists don't teach this.
No.
So I went to recovery. I loved it. Within 3 months, I was already teaching it. And within a year, I wrote a book to bring it into the frum world because I wanted to frumanize it. Okay? And that's what I've been teaching ever since. Okay, so this is the brain. Mm-hmm. This is the snake brain. Okay?
That explains the snake.
Right. This is the impulsive brain. Okay? It starts to developing like 6 weeks after conception. It's fully developed by when a woman is in her 6th month of pregnancy. So that's the impulsive brain. That's the one that says, kick it, eat it, hit it, spit on it. Okay, it's very, very impulsive, and it can be very violent or just wanting comfort. Don't make me get out of my comfort zone. So that's why
How's that work with ADHD? We spoke on the way here about ADHD.
Right. So since I'm ADHD and all my kids are ADHD, so I had to learn. That's what I realized that recovery and all these good methods do. They tell us this is the baby brain. I call it the baby brain. I don't want to call it the snake brain.
You have on there maagbemi.
Right, behemi. It's the
animal.
Right, it's the animal brain. So and it's always with us. It's always telling us, eat it, buy it. Okay, you don't wait. Now, the middle part of the brain between your ears is where the limbic system is. That's where all the messages from our childhood are stored, good and bad. Now, the average ADHD kid, they say, hears about 20,000 put-downs by the age of 12.
Wow.
Why are you moving? Why can't you sit still? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Just do the homework. Just be on to and they're just hearing all this negativity. So I heard all this, okay, and that was filling up my brain. It's stored in the limbic system between the ears. That's the emotional brain. This is back here is your physical, animal, impulsive brain. Paro, for instance, that was his symbol. In Egypt, you see all the paros with snakes because it was give in to your lowest impulses, and that's what
which explains Mitzrayim.
Yes, that's Mitzrayim. It's when you give in to your lowest impulses. Right. Now, up here is where I call it the tefillin spot, and I say we have a BB, a baby brain, and we have an AB, an adult brain. And the adult brain starts to develop only at age 3.
And fully develops at what, 28?
Well, with 20, normal people around 20 to 25, it has the most cells. ADHD people are about 7-8 years behind.
Oh, that explains my life because I'm just 35.
Right. Okay.
That explains my life.
Why was so
stupid
and impulsive?
Laylee is very not ADHD. And she just turned 29.
And she's
like, oh, my brain is finally forming.
Okay, right.
I haven't felt a formed brain. I'm just getting to it.
How do we go from here to here?
Right.
Okay. So when I walk on the street, or I live near a forest, and I see kids walking around, or I'll hear a father. The other day, I heard a father yelling at his 5-year-old, saying, "Stop hitting your little brother! Stop hitting him! Stop hitting him!" So I walked out of my house. And I said to the father, do you want to hear a method for helping the 5-year-old not hit his little brother instead of you screaming at him all the time? Okay. So I said to the 5-year-old, I said, you know what? Because that was a couple of weeks ago, we were in Parsha with Yaakov and Esav, and I said, you know, you have a Yaakov brain up here, and you have an Esav brain down here. Now, this one says, listen to your Abba. And this one says, don't listen. Do whatever you want. Be wild. And you actually have 2 parts to your brain, and they're going to be at war your whole life. That's life. This one is saying, I want it right now. I have to have it right this second. Right now, right now. No discomfort. Can't stand discomfort. So I said, well, that's your Esav brain. Go be wild. How are we going to get up here? So I have a little method. I have a method for everything. So I brought out my little plates. This is something anybody can do. And I said, number 1 is an irritation. I grabbed his hands. I put the plates on the ground, okay, by the forest. I grabbed the 5-year-old's hand, and I said, so what did your little brother do that irritated you? He said, he's just irritating.
So that's number 1.
That's number 1. An irritation or a temptation. And I grabbed his, these were on the ground between us, and I said, yes, little brothers can be really obnoxious.
Right.
Okay. And then I said, number 2, and what did your baby brain tell you to do? Now, on the step number 2, we jumped to this plate, and I said to him, and what was the feeling? You felt irritated? Now, I'm just at step number 2, I'm just understanding.
Right. It happened already. There's nothing.
Right, it happened.
There's no choice in step number 2.
You were irritated. He knocks down your toys. He bugs you, and then he gets you in trouble with Abba.
Right, because...
Right, he likes that too. Okay, so he gets you in trouble, then your Abba screams at you instead of screaming at your brother. And so I said, step number, that's really annoying. I'm just validating his feelings. And then I described the negative behavior. And you want to do what?
Hit.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
Of course.
The brother is the problem.
Okay.
And in adults, it's the bank, it's the boss.
Right, exactly.
All these ones.
All these ones, and the food is calling you, oh, the shawarma or whatever it is, or the eclair or the chocolate cake or the rich desserts. The what? Chalva. Chalva. Oh, okay.
Wait, did you exclude chalva too, or that's allowed?
No, chalva. I couldn't have chalva in the house for many, many years because I had a food disorder. So I had to change my environment so there could be no sugar in the house.
Oh, so no chalva.
No,
either.
oh boy,
Okay.
I can smell it. Okay, so and chocolate and sweets. For some people, it's going to be alcohol or cigarettes or vaping. Everybody's going to have some kind of addiction because that's Mitzrayim.
Yeah.
Okay, so I grabbed his and I said, boy, I understand how hard
it's needing to satisfy the discomfort with some kind of a resolution.
Right,
I need to satisfy.
ADHD kids and a lot of people, they just cannot. They can't. It's a discomfort, and the minute they're in discomfort, they go down. Let me just figure something quick.
Yeah, it's humans all across. It's humans with pain. Like, what do I do with pain?
What do I do?
And there is so much pain. So
there's a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So then I said, you know what, honey? You also have a genius brain up here. Oh, kids like that. I call it the adult brain, A, B, and BB, or I could tell them you have a genius brain. And your little brother doesn't really have it yet. It just started. That's why you put a kippah on his head at 3. It's really true scientifically that this part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, just begins to develop at 3. The rabbis were right in putting a kippah on the kid's head then, okay? And then I said, and your little brother doesn't have this part of his brain developed. But we can develop it.
How old was this kid?
Maybe 5.
Wow. Because my Levi is 5 and I'm thinking...
Right, that's the age. Okay. Huh. So I said, and then we went, that's what I called the brain dance. We went back and forth. I said, now your baby brain is telling you to hit your brother. Okay. And then your grown-up brain is telling you to do what? What would your genius brain tell you to do instead of hitting? Now, right away, kids start thinking. That develops this part of the brain. Let's think of solution. This is the solution brain. This is the brain that
creativity comes from that part.
Yes, absolutely. And thinking of how to.
So the one time when I know with Levi, and probably myself, when I'm not in my lower brain, one of the things I know how to do well is hyper focus. Like
Right.
dream,
Good.
plan
Ahead.
I love
Plan
doing
ahead.
that.
Think about what if you eat this piece of chocolate or you eat the entire gallon of ice cream, what is going to happen? Now this part of the brain doesn't care.
Right, it's impulse. It wants
Right,
to.
impulse. If you're critical of things, you stupid idiot, what is that going to do to people? This part doesn't care. Putin doesn't care about bombing Ukraine. I mean, you just bomb because it makes you feel good. Okay, and we bomb people with our words. So I don't want to do that. I wanted a home with no hitting and no hashbala. Hashbala is no humiliation. So this is what I would do if my kids would humiliate anybody. I would make them do the brain dance. Anyways, this little boy said, I could walk away. He said, I could ignore him. I could ask him to play. He started thinking.
Right.
All I did was tap, and he started thinking. Okay? And then I asked the father for permission if I could hug him, and I said, I hugged the little boy. That's step number 4. Very important to do all these steps. Step number 4, I gave him a hug. And I said, if you use your grown-up brain, Hashem is going to be so proud of you. And your father's going to be proud of you. And then I asked the father, do you want to do the brain dance with your son? Okay, and he did it. He said, step number 1, the older one hit the younger one, and boom. Okay, I went into my baby brain. Okay, I went into my, and I had them holding each other, and the father was telling his son, I wanted to smack you. Step number 2, of course, I want to protect your younger brother from you. Okay, but I said, number 3, what can you do instead? How can you go up to your adult brain? Now that takes at least 5 seconds. You know, there's the 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's at least the amount of time you need to go up. Sometimes it's going to take more.
So from when I propose the question to myself until my brain can even access is...
I use this all the time. Okay. I got up this morning. I had to open my eyes. I go, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep your eyes open. That's your first victory. Okay. So I asked the father, what can the dad do? Said, wow, maybe I can do the brain dance with him. Maybe I can help him overcome the urge to hit. Because that's really our job.
Right. So if the dad can access, if I can access my upper brain, then I can bring that to my child.
And you have to talk about it. Okay. And then you have to hug the kid for using his upper brain. Because it's exercise.
Yeah. 4 is I found.
Or I'm thinking of a solution, or you're going to tell your kids, you know, there was a delicious dessert. We went out, we had a meal, and then they brought the dessert. And my baby brain said,
eat it.
Of course. And my upper brain said, my adult brain said,
mine, 1 spoon.
Good, 1. I hate you. I want the whole thing. You're depriving me. It's not fair. I want the whole thing. And the upper brain is going to say,
1 is enough.
I can't do just 1. I feel so deprived. I hate doing this. Halva. I want it. You don't love me. You don't care about me. If you really cared about me, you would give it to me. And your adult brain will say, because I care about you, because I love you, I'm not giving it to you.
Right.
Because discipline is the highest form of love.
Right, which is, Chesed Gevura is Tiferes.
Okay. Yep. So we're going to be disciplined, and that's how I'm going to show, because that's really, I'm going to show you love by being disciplined myself and by helping you become disciplined. And then you're going to love yourself, because undisciplined people don't like themselves.
Because there's no discipline.
No discipline.
So
you're never going to develop it. You can talk self-esteem till you're blue in the face. Not going to work. I'm okay the way I am. I'm good enough. Nonsense. Right. You better do your work to get from here to here.
Well, it's a twofold, right? It's the 2 where I acknowledge the 1 and the 2 that happened already, and then the 3 is what am I going to do now?
You have to talk about it. Okay. So I'm giving this to you as a gift to take home to do with your son.
Thank you.
and then you'll remember me.
I remember you. I spent 7 months with a partner doing gratitudes and victories from 20 workshops or more, and I don't know how much therapy.
Terrific.
And I don't know how many trainings and all these things that I've done. I think the thing that switched my brain, like permanent change for the way I think, was those 7 months that I had a partner. I would send a list of 20 things that I did that I'm proud of, like little things. I remember
Mama,
Yehuda's
keep you
telling me
right.
the smallest of
smaller
things.
the better.
I parked further to walk, whatever, the
Yeah,
smallest
fair.
of things. I didn't honk like.
Very good, very good.
So I would do 20 things, and then that naturally triggers the gratitude. I mean, it's the experience.
So
It's as soon as I can
right.
acknowledge what I've done, I start noticing what I have, and then I acknowledge 20 things that I'm grateful for,
Great.
which is all 4. So
Right.
I can do 3, like I know a lot of people who do a lot of coaching and a lot of self-work, a lot of 3, but there is no awareness that I'm doing the 3. So that
And
my
you got
brain
it.
keeps thinking that it's still in 2. It's still in the auto response, lower brain. So the
Right.
4 really gave me the knowledge that I'm actually doing 3. It was
And you have
really
to
great.
get it in your body. Wow. That's why I like to do very good high five. My
to bring it from a
bring it
thought
down.
to the body, which is breath work is so popular. Are
And
you
it's so
following
oh yeah,
the
it's
whole
great.
breath work thing now? People
Actually, Andrew Huberman, who's the big
Huberman,
who's the big guy in breathing, he
Yeah.
says the best thing you want to switch to go up. You do like a quick breath in,
it's
double
a double
if you can
inhale from the nose.
double
Yeah.
in, longer out, and then I say, Dayenu.
Yes,
I have everything I need.
he says literally 2 to 3 breaths
Right.
changes the nervous system.
Changes you
wild.
from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system, and then you can think more quickly. Now, when I go out, I'm Purim. I'll be wearing this. Okay?
What is
when I go out?
what are you
and
wearing?
I say, this is my tiara. As I tell people on the street, I say, "Do you know who I am?" Okay, so I say, "I'm the queen of solutions." So I don't get angry, and I find solutions for everything. So I was out Shabbos the other day, and I saw a little girl terrified of a little dog, sweet little dog on a leash, and this girl was, ah! So I went over. She's about 12, and I said, when you get scared of the dog thinks you want to play with him, and as you run away, he's going to run after you. So back down here says the dog is a threat. That's your lower brain. And that's an instant reaction because somehow you got trained that you have to run away from dogs and be scared of them. But I'm going to teach you to go up to your upper brain, and I'm going to teach you to say when you see a dog, oh, you have such pretty eyes. Oh, you have such a nice tail, such nice fur. And she practiced it on the dog.
In real time.
And
the dog just...
And then it was fine.
Wow.
Okay. It's the same thing with our emotions. We get so scared. People come and they say, I'm suicidal. Nobody loves me. That happens all the time in my office. If I can't have somebody to love me. Okay. Anyways, I'll say, well, that's your initial response. You're scared. It's scary to be lonely, to be rejected, to be humiliated, to be unseen, to be unacknowledged, to be snubbed and excluded. Yes, this is scary, but I want to teach you to say yes. Validate the feelings, and then go up.
Mm-hmm. It's a twofold. Validation itself.
You got to have the validation first.
It's I validate and I take a step.
Right.
I acknowledge that I validate
and
I take the breath, make the action. It's always a twofold. It's
Twofold.
the chesed and the gevura.
You must validate the emotions and love them. It's like a baby. It's like, think of Pua. Pua comes from cooing. She held the baby. Oh, poo, 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 poo. There's a child in us that needs to be calmed down. It's a scary world, and people can be very scary and cruel and horrible. Okay, so, by the way, speaking of chesed and gevura, so when I would go out with my kids, I would put this on my right hand and this on my left hand. And I'd say, this is chesed. It's pink. Give, be nice. Be sweet and gentle and kind and giving. And this is gevura, little colder color. Okay, and this means I have to say no. So they'd say, can we have this? Can you buy me this? And I'd say, okay, we'll buy one thing. And then they'd say, and can we buy that too? Say, no, I promised you one, but not two.
And when they ask why,
I said,
do you
that's a
believe
good
in
question.
saying why?
Oh, you're good. I said, because mental health is being balanced. You don't want too much chesed. You don't want to indulge kids too much. You don't want to give in and indulge and pamper them, because then they're going to have a very high level of anxiety and depression if they don't get what they want instantly. It's really dangerous to
Like if they
indulge
don't
kids too much.
stretch the muscle of not getting,
Right.
they're
Of
prone
what to do.
Mm.
Okay, they have to think about what they can do when they don't get what they want. So you don't want to do too much chesed because these kids don't know how to handle pain, frustration, disappointment. They melt down, they go ballistic. So
Sounds very much like adults.
that's why I say we all have that baby brain. I can't bear discomfort. So I said, okay, because we need balance. Chesed needs to be balanced.
So when the kid asks why not, do I get into the explaining myself?
Just say we have to be balanced. Just say we need balance. I know you want everything in the store, and I would love to give it to you because I have a lot of chesed.
So I know parents say a lot. We don't have money for it, and that's not necessarily true when we're talking about $1 items.
Right.
So it's not the right answer. It's
Right.
like, or we just don't do. It's just a no.
So
we don't do that.
sometimes
We
you
buy
can
just
ask
one.
kids. I said we would buy one. I would say to my kids, that's difficult because I love to buy. I love to give. I'm a big giver. So I have to do more on the gevura, on restraining and getting kids used to disappointment. They need it because pampered kids, it's just horrible.
It's very difficult
They don't
to
know how to
function
do it.
with reality where there isn't so many yeses. Yeah, I know for me it's a lot easier to fix and buy.
Exactly. It's instant.
So much easier.
But they're going to have billions of disappointments and frustrations, and you want them to be able to validate, yes, I feel frustrated and disappointed, and whatever I'm feeling, it can be, whatever. Kids after COVID, the amount of depression and anxiety just jumped up. So we have to say, okay, now what do I need to do from here? I do feel these feelings. I want to embrace them. I want to coo to them like pua. Oh, but you can't get everything you want, and that hurts. Okay, and then you want to go up here. Does that mean that your Abba doesn't love you because he didn't buy you? I hear this all the time from people say, oh, Hashem must hate me. Hashem is punishing me. That's from down here. No, Hashem loves us, and that's why he doesn't give us everything we want. He always gives us everything we need.
Right. There's a difference.
Right. Right.
There's a difference between what I want and what I think I need and what I really want.
I used to, so you can remember this, you're not going to go around with the pink thing.
Well, I
on your
have
hand.
the black.
The black.
So that could be the gevura.
But I could be
then
gevura,
I can get a pink something here. We'll do.
Okay. I just said, to be healthy is to be balanced. Not too much gevura is also terrible.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What happens when it doesn't work?
Okay. Then
it doesn't work. I do the upper brain. I know that when it doesn't work with adults and with kids either.
Right.
When it's like I know the steps, I know the process, and it just doesn't work.
And
why? Because the stress is too high, or for others the trauma is too triggering.
Okay.
Whatever.
So I'm a trauma therapist. I went through a lot of traumas myself. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and I have to deal with all those somatic
responses.
Physical, my body just, doesn't take stress well. So I have to calm myself down. And I've learned, I teach kids EFT. I teach anxiety. The tapping is very, very powerful for kids.
Can we do a round?
Oh, yeah.
Just a little.
Okay, I'm feeling so stressed.
Oh.
Life is so stressful.
So acknowledge in the tapping.
I'm feeling so I hate feeling stressed. I wish I didn't have all this anxiety. I wish I didn't.
So you would just start doing that?
Just say whatever you're feeling. I hate being disappointed and hurt and not getting my way, and I hate being so anxious and easily agitated.
So that's more acknowledging.
I just acknowledge, and then I just say.
And you go through all of them.
I just do 5. I modify everything and make it easy. I don't want all these.
So you'll do this one.
I do this. I just say, even though I'm feeling really frustrated with this person and really sad, I'm thinking of somebody right now. Think of somebody who's really frustrating to you, and maybe nasty or excluding you or blaming and being mean and accusing you of all kinds of things. I just even though this person is really not being nice. And I say, and that's my job. My job is to deeply and completely love and accept myself. I have to give myself unconditional love. I cannot rely on anyone to give that to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to.
So you'll do that on.
I'll do
here.
that, and then I'll say,
You'll
"Oh, so sad, so painful." This part is very important. These are very important PowerPoints. So painful. I'm being accused, being a failure, a loser, stupid, crazy. People accuse me all the time. Okay, unwanted, failure, loser, a past. So painful. I just do a few rounds until I can feel.
And I deeply and completely love myself.
Yeah, and then when I get to here, I use this as my release point. I just say, I release everything not in my control. All the people, all the events, all the hurts of the past. Let it go, let it go. I want to be in the present. My sister Yehuda says the word now is the same as one, switched around. If you can be in the now and you can be with Hashem right now, that's a win right there. That's a victory right there. You want to be focused on your victory, so that's a victory right there. I'll let go. And then I come back and I just say, peace. I want peace. I don't want to be resisting what is. I'm not.
Peace is letting it be. Even if it's sad.
That's right. Even my body's going through all this stuff. And all around me, people don't call or they don't come, or people accuse me of not calling her.
So a lot of the fixing is not fixing and letting it be.
It's just letting it be.
So So a lot of when I say what if it doesn't work is me wanting to fix.
That's right.
And still wanting to fix and make it not come back.
Exactly. Sometimes I just do this for a long time. Sometimes I'm talking to somebody and I'm doing it, holding the phone. And say, wow, so disappointed, so hurt. Can't get through. Like there's not so much empathy. People without empathy are impossible to live with.
For an empath.
Right, exactly. It's like they don't care. They don't care if they call you, wake you up in the middle of the night, or call you names, or accuse you of all kinds of things. It's just Gehenna. So I just have to come back. Here's my let go spot. I made EFT easy. I try to make things easy for people to grasp. And this is my let go. And what if nobody loves me and nobody cares and nobody gives me enough time and attention?
So I'm still here with me.
I'm here. It's just
because there's me doing this right now.
That's
there's
right.
me being here with me.
That's right.
Yeah. So you would do that with kids?
I do it with little kids.
5-year-olds?
Yeah. 3-year-old.
Huh.
2-year-old sometimes, Or I do it. They're having a tantrum and I'm going, oh my God. I have no control over them. Whoa. I don't know, my brain is on fire hearing the screaming and whining and
Yeah.
And sometimes when kids see you doing that,
they'll just be curious what happened.
What is he doing?
Well, if I show up with the red and blue bracelets and a snake and tap, I'm pretty sure and that,
Queen of Solutions.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna draw Levi's attention.
What is he doing?
It might just work.
I told my kids I never get angry because I am the Queen of Solutions, and when you have solutions, you don't need to get angry. And everybody calm down. And then I would say, to the kids, your Abba is the king of solutions. And the guy, like that guy in the park, in the forest the other day, I said to the kids, your Abba is the king of solutions. He never gets angry.
Who's Abba are we talking about?
And I said, well, he's going to do the brain dance with you. Kids get it faster than adults. I was at the mall the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and this kid was about to he was very near the escalator going down. And the mother was holding a little baby and hysterical. Shlomi, get away from the escalator. Get away from the escalator. I don't know these people, but I went over to him and I said, Shlomi, you know what? You have a Yaakov brain up here. And it says, listen to your mommy. And you have an Asaph brain. He was about 3. It was really scary and dangerous. I said, and you have a baby brain down here. I wonder which one you're going to listen to. And then he ran over to his mother. Okay. Now, I don't know if it's because he was scared of this weird lady talking about the
wearing a snake in the mall. But there's definitely, I know it works in adults, and I know that we're not
You have
so
to do it
different.
first. You have to tell your kids,
Yeah,
I really want that halva. Oh my God, it's going to feel so good.
It's really about like the vibe in the room or the energy.
Yeah.
If I can regulate my own, it comes across. There's like we so listen and connect not only through words. It's how my state.
Right, and
So-
you're saying, high five. I just tasted the halva. Very good, very good. And do that a lot. I do that wherever I go. The secretary was nice. The clerk was nice. The lady took my blood. Very sweet. I said, wow, you're really good at this. Very good, very good. High five. Now, if I give you a high five, you're here, you're up on zero sleep, basically, almost, okay, having gone through this difficult plane trip and whatever, and you're here, and I go, very good, Motty, very good, high five, and I smack
The
your
nervous
hand.
system is different. There's no downer tired. It's an
Yeah.
upper tired.
Okay.
Yeah. So your latest book.
My
Let's-
my newest book
Your
that's
newest
coming
book.
out, I hope, Pesach
So
time.
I read through it.
Raising Spiritual Champs.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so we're going to be spiritual champs. We're going to try to raise spiritual, at least ourselves. We're going to raise ourselves up. So it has a lot of ideas, and I have this one, which was the first. It's becoming solution champs. Okay, so and this is the idea that when a difficult situation arises, you want to use it for spiritual growth. You've got a lot of emotional pain during the day, and you want to use it for spiritual gain. So this book is Solution Champs. It's in stores in New York. There's no more English copies here, but
Which reminds me of Imago. It's like it's so different. The pain is so different if it's utilized for something.
we have to use it for good.
If it's used for something, and that can literally, if Viktor Frankl could use the Holocaust as his own case study, then I can probably use a traffic jam for some good.
I said, what am I working on? You say, what am I working on? So I have, with my kids, I would give them points. I would give them points. Raffle, okay?
Reward.
Raffle points. They would have to earn, if they earned raffle points for not hitting.
So Dr. Huberman, one of the
Yeah.
things he also talks about is that at the end of the day, the humans, the lower brain works only with a reward system. Like
That's right.
It needs a
And
reward.
we need rewards.
Like at the end, there's no bypassing
But the
that.
reward could say, wow, look at what you did. You did your hour walk. You did this. You did that. And,
Right.
and great. Now, I have at the end of that book, and also in the solution, Raising Spiritual Champs, I have a chart. It's got 39 ways.
These come in cards, don't they?
They come in cards.
We have a
We're gonna
copy
have
of
we're
that.
gonna have cards. We have rulers. We have talking. This is the language of recovery and of mental health. What do I do with my overwhelming, my passions, the bad ones? Okay, I have a good one to teach. Okay, that's a good passion. I have just as much passion down here for things. So what do I do with that? What do I do with all the hurts in my life and all the pain and traumas I've been through? So this is a way for kids to learn. It's just got 39 different ideas. It's in Solution Champs and it's Raising Spiritual Champs. And it's a matter of teaching kids to focus on how they can raise themselves up and use difficult events for spiritual gain. That's the reward.
The reward is that I can use it.
I can
I can
use
make
it.
something of
Okay.
it. So within
Okay.
is the reward.
So I have a granddaughter. She's 9. She wrote a little book called Queen of Solutions. She was so impressed with this idea that she can be the Queen of Solutions. At 9, she was teaching the others in the class and teaching the teachers.
That's
You don't have
adorable.
to get angry. She goes and she tells adults, you don't have to get angry. You just have to find a solution.
She lives in Israel?
Yeah.
It's a really
She's
good
9,
place
10.
to,
Yeah. So why are you getting angry?
yeah.
You're in your baby brain. Go up.
All right.
So I have this helps the kids go up. I can work on patience. I can work on acceptance.
I like that. I'm noticing this one. I can replay the scene,
Oh, that's a great one. If you do get angry,
this time respectfully.
that's right. So if you scream at the kid, you say, I don't like how I did that. Could you please
Right.
could you please annoy me
So-
again? And this time I'm going to find this one. This
That's
time I'm
awesome. Can you
5,
annoy
4,
me
3,
again?
please annoy me again. I used to do this with my kids. Could you please annoy me again? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go upstairs instead of reacting from downstairs.
Yeah, I think a lot of patterns are to protect the dysfunction. So I need to protect and sort of build a belief that I'm good enough with something that's not good enough. If I can replay, I can just like scratch it. Like be like that. That's not good.
Good at that. By the way, the self-loathing that most people experience, the empaths, all the empaths, they say 100% of people with ADHD suffer from what's called rejection sensitivity dysphoria. They have been so rejected all their lives for not sitting still, for not being able to accomplish tasks. Why are you listening? Why are you interrupting? What are your grades? Why aren't you listening to me? That is just so much negativity. They're just so sensitive to the negativity from people. So, but we can reprogram our brains. That's what I'm here for, to teach people how to do that.
So reprogramming the brain, what's important to know is, at least for, I think, what we're talking about is for a very long time, the negative is not necessarily going to go away.
It's
the program
stuck in there, right?
So it might just even stay.
It's always going to be there. You messed up. You're such a loser. You're such a failure. How many kids? You're so fat. You're so this. You're so that. You flunked. You did.
So reprogramming, healing, therapy, and methods, tools is in no way to say that it needs to go away. It's just about what do I do when it's there.
That's right. I'm going to have PTSD my whole life. I'm going to have all this, whatever.
So it might be difficult forever. For some people more, for some people less, and different things. And
everybody has to find their inner, what I call their inner Moshe Rabbeinu. That's going to free their spirit from all that negativity. So, by the way, there's a little piece in the brain here, just above the lower brain. It's called the amygdala. It's the fear center. And it does tend to hijack our brain and send out like
fight, flight.
You screwed up again. You just flunked again. You're just such a loser. You're such a failure. Such a failure. Such a failure. And I grew up with such self-loathing for so long because I didn't fit into the, what was the conformist idea of perfection. So
that part is still going to try and protect me.
I can hear it. I can hear it. It was very, very strong, but now it's just fading away. I have high-fived myself. It doesn't matter if you high-five yourself or anybody else. High-five to Ben here, high-five to him out there, high-five everybody you meet. I was in the supermarket yesterday, and this guy looked so tired, the checker. I said, "You look so tired." He said, "Yeah, I didn't sleep well last night." I said, "And you came to work anyway?" Wow, very good, high five. So
the vibe is just different.
Yeah.
And then I feed off that.
Exactly. It's good for me, it's good for him.
Yeah, someone sent me this link, self-loathing, what it is, causes, and how to cope, which is what you were talking about. And it's so familiar to me and so many. There's also the pretending that it's not supposed to be there, because if my brain spends so much time doing that, I'm not good enough, and I'm less. It
looks absolutely true. Now, psychopaths don't have that problem.
Right.
Psychopaths have about half the size of the amygdala. They don't have fear. They don't have self-reflection. They don't have a sense of failure. And they're put up there as the celebrities. They're the
brain
powerful
does that
people.
for them.
Well, they just don't have, they're not self-reflective. They don't have a sense of guilt, remorse, empathy. If you look at all the powerful leaders in the world, okay, Putin and North Korea, look at all these guys, they don't have self-loathing. They make us feel self-loathing. So that's how you know you're around a psychopath or a sociopath.
If I feel too much of it feeds to how not good enough I am.
They know how to do it, and they just look at you.
Right, and they need me in order to build their status. They build themselves.
They feed off of us.
Right, because it's all vibe. It's all
anybody
energy.
with any empathy we're going to attract those people who make us feel like garbage.
Right, because my deepest inner subconscious need is someone like that to tell me that I'm the best.
Exactly.
And they're never going to give it.
Exactly.
They're never going to give it to
people
me.
come in, I've been married 30 years. I never heard a compliment. You know?
Well, never going to come.
It's never gonna, you better compliment yourself.
So I don't know if this is a question, but maybe just some, if you can sprinkle some perspective. When is it time to work on it? Something, anything, and when it's time to bag it, to say, this is, I'm out.
You're talking about a relationship?
I don't know. It could be generalizing a question like this is not fair, but it's more like which wisdoms is there in regards to leaving, or let's say a job, a career, because it takes so much effort to be in. So it's sometimes like, I know how to keep working on myself, so I can keep doing that forever and everywhere. So who said I need to leave? And then I can just leave things. And maybe I'm not. So, like, what
there's
is
a lot of I've written 5 books just on domestic violence and abuse. It's very, very common. Living with somebody who just puts you down, is always trying to control you. Nothing you do is ever good enough. Now, it says that when the Jews were in Mitzrayim, that Hashem had to take them out of their sevel. Sevel can mean suffering and also tolerance.
It's the same word.
Yeah.
Wow. So they tolerated the pain and the suffering.
And when they said, I can't do this anymore, it's sort of like an amputation.
So he took them out of their sevel, of their tolerance.
They tolerated it.
Wow.
And it was only when I can't do this anymore. It is like gangrene that's going to poison me.
So there is a certain amount of staying sometimes in things,
right?
Until I'm clear, as an empath specifically,
where you have to be able to acknowledge and be honest. I cannot take this anymore. It is, the suffering is like the emotional suffering from living with somebody, let's say, who has no empathy for you. Okay, and it could be such little things like, please don't bang the cupboards at 3 a.m. And then they'll do it on purpose and wake you up. It's often so subtle that gaslighting. I have an article that I wrote. Actually, it's based on a book I wrote called From Victim to Victor. And I have 45 different kinds of very subtle gaslighting that maybe others
How
won't
long
see.
ago was this written?
About 20 years ago.
And it's been a pandemic since.
It's mama.
Someone asked me recently if there's more narcissism than there was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if there is. It's just people are healing. So it becomes, as soon as I say no to manipulation, now there's a manipulator.
Right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be manipulative because I just say yes, yes, yes. So it's like, it's like when is it time to say no? When is it time to leave? So one thing is the sevel, when I know I can't. That's why the Jews did go to Memtes.
Only 20%.
And only
left.
20% left. Right.
And that 20% comes back over and over again. How many people go to a gym and they get a membership and they go and they work out and they watch what they eat?
Yeah. That percentage is scientifically found across everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. 20% left.
And then there is like with gaslighting, then there's like the boundaries. It ends up, like I know for me, it ends up feeding that I'm even worse. So when I'm not thinking of marriage, I'm thinking of different friendships or different work
I have
relationships.
Zero tolerance for gaslighters and for toxic people now. I'm not the nice lady when it comes to them. No. It's the same way with food. I have zero tolerance because I had Crohn's. I have to have a strict food plan. I cannot have grains or sugar or cakes. No wheat. No. Okay.
So you say no.
I have no tolerance for anything toxic. That's when the Gevurah comes out.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And to expect that they are going to support me in boundaries, it's not a realistic. Right. So it's back to expecting that the feelings should go, negative feelings should go away is a dead end. Like I can't expect that because I'm doing something good or right or strong or I'm able,
and that you're going to be appreciated.
Somehow,
right. You're not. No, they're not going to appreciate.
Because that's more of my own insecurity and lower brain waiting for.
Right. They're going to deprive you. Anytime you have a success, they won't even hear it. Mm-hmm. They won't acknowledge you. They're so competitive and so into everything being about them that you don't even exist. So a lot of kids feel unseen, rejected, dismissed, And we have these relatives who do that to us. You can't even talk. So my job is to love myself.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
I
to try
had
to be
learn
funny
that.
about it.
Yeah.
So
It
it's
took me a long time.
that's awesome.
By the way, here I have a whole bag of tricks. My grandson once was hitting his little brother a lot. And I told him, every time you say, I wanted to hit,
You get a reward. Wow.
he had to say, I wanted to hit, and I didn't.
Mm.
You get a ticket. I really wanted to hit, and I didn't. You get a ticket. Okay, you get 20 tickets, you get a Lego. He would crawl on broken glass for a little thing of Lego. Okay? I'm giving this to you.
Thank you.
It's a way to show kids I can break a bad habit. Okay, so you tell him, every time you want to have a tantrum, every time you want to say something mean, every time whatever, I'm going to give you a ticket. And when we get to 20 tickets or 50 or whatever, for an ADHD kid, 20, 15 maybe is what he can handle. But he has to say what his victory is. I wanted to yell.
And I didn't.
And I didn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking, while you're saying this, I'm thinking of addiction, like what actually works. And so many solutions for addiction doesn't work.
Right.
So what does?
What
and did
does?
you find it working? Did you find
So when I had to go
someone...
off sugar, I had to get a high from not eating. So if I say, I'm looking at that dessert and it's winking at me and it's very seductive and it's pulling me in and I'm not going to eat it, I go, very good, very good.
What does it take for the brain to be satisfied with it? Struggling with addiction is tough to stop. And Robert Jacobson says that addiction isn't the issue, it's the solution.
Right.
Which
the
is
loneliness.
why
The loneliness and the not good enough message.
And loneliness and I'm bad.
Right.
So it's like, what have you found, like with recovery and with everything
EMETT,
we're talking
all these
about?
things, right.
Have you found people going from
the hardest addiction
to...
is the addiction to affliction. In Hebrew, it's hitmakrut lamiskenut.
Right.
If somebody thinks he's misken, how do you say misken?
Victim.
The victim mentality.
Victimized.
I am a nothing. I'm terrible. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. That is the hardest addiction to overcome. I had a little girl last week, not a little one, she's in high school. The mother brought her to me, and I could see that she's practicing being crazy. She's practicing it.
Which one? The mother?
The daughter.
The daughter.
Yeah. See, I'm so crazy. I have all these feelings in my body, and I can't stand it. And nobody else around me has these, and I can't sleep, and I can't eat, and somebody don't eat. And she's got all these, and you see her practicing being crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm also a graphologist, so I could see with her stars and waves and handwriting that she's really convincing herself that she's crazy, and she's practicing during all her waking hours. She's thinking, oh my God, I'm so anxious and I can't eat it. My stomach hurts. I must be crazy. Nobody else is like this. Everybody else is calm. And we practice these messages. That's a really hard one to beat.
It's pretty wild how grown people, I know grown men don't think that what they're experiencing actually happens to someone else. It's wild.
That's why number 2, that's written on step number 2 in the plates, what you're going through is normal.
Normalizing the feeling.
Normalizing.
Feelings aren't that, like, there is the feeling chart.
Right.
But the emotion of it is just 4 basic core feelings. Yeah. And everyone feels them.
Everybody feels them.
And it's ridiculous to think that I'm the only one.
But
that's the victimization.
That
tells me that I'm the only one feeling that. And it's interesting because the one that doesn't feel it is generally a psychopath. So
they don't have right.
So I my healthy side is what I'm using to victimize myself, but really my feelings is what keeps me in check.
And they're adored. All these psychopaths are adored. They just walk around.
Well, they do they do bring a certain solidness.
Yes.
It's true.
We're the ones having all these emotions. They're not having that. We feel that we're defective.
It's true. That's why they're admired for.
We really admire psychopaths who have no emotion. They don't
Well,
experience
it's so admired because
anxiety.
Because all ads and advertisement and all of them present that perfection of it's all good. Like
no
I'm good.
feeling. We don't feel.
And it's perfect.
And we're perfect. And they're confident and charismatic and uncaring. Because a part is because they don't have that amygdala. It's half the size sometimes.
Right. So I once heard, I think from Yehudis,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, that sometimes it takes to pretend to be like that in order to get by, and that's okay to do.
Yes, I
It's
love
like-
doing that.
It's like Yaakov did take the Esav stuff in order to get the brachas.
That's a great example. Great. Terrific. Yeah, I love acting like that. Like I don't care and I don't have all these emotions and that's good.
Yeah, I told a guy a few weeks ago, don't worry. You're so good, you're not going to become bad. It's like, how could I? I'm going to disappoint. I'm like, don't worry. Yeah, like, like people that function with empathy do not need to worry that they'll become psychopaths.
That's right.
The only one that's going to think that I'm a psychopath is the psychopath or the...
And I'll say, well, if you really loved me, by the way, there's all these phrases that can tell you you're around a narcissist. If you really loved me, you'd...
Right.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's not faking it till you make it. It's acting like the person you really want to be.
Like what would my strong self, my upper brain, my Yaakov, and Yaakov did steal some bechayah.
Yeah.
So what would Yaakov do? Yeah, he would play it right.
And we see an evolution in all these characters from, if Yaakov didn't have Esav, and he was just sitting in the tent learning with Yitzchak, and Rivka was giving him chalva and mudgy-pudgy and great meals all day, who would he become? So I think of what Hashem does to us as sort of like putting a patch on an eye. If you have a lazy eye, you need to patch the good eye and force the lazy eye to work. And you have to do it by the age of 5. Or you lose sight, you go blind. So Hashem sometimes patches the good eye. I had no gevura. I had no confidence. I had no self-esteem. Hashem had to put me in situations where people were really nasty and abusive to me. He patched my good eye, because I'm very chesidic, so that I could develop gevura and learn to love myself. This is one of the things I use. It's a feeling ruler. What are you feeling? But before you go up, make sure that you find out. Acknowledge how much pain are you in. I have an ambulance here. Okay. Is it 10? I have a 2.5-year-old granddaughter that if anybody falls down, she takes the girl ruler or the boy ruler and she runs. Come as a kwev.
That's so cute.
How tired are you right now?
All right. Well, half the tufa is just going to the doctor, which is the acknowledgement.
Acknowledge. How tired are you? See, it's just showing interest. A narcissist won't do that. They're not just interested in getting all the attention from themselves, unless they're in the chasing, hunting stage. And then they show intense interest.
It's all about
everything about you. And then once they've caught you, it's over. Well, I did almost my whole bag of tricks.
Thank you. You did so good. It's not your first time.
Fun?
Thank you so much.
No, I've never done a podcast before. No.
Yeah,
It was fun?
This was excellent. I enjoyed myself a lot.
Oh, good.
Thank you.